what you need to see here. If you out there and you liked Drake's songs more than Kendrick, that's fine. What I'm focusing here is that you understood, or on an unconscious level, understood what each was representing and kind of allowed your energy to be swayed wherever it may be. What occurred here is that Drake is representing an archetype, a real celebrity archetype of heaven on earth. Nothing matters now, just what I can see, what I can grab, what I can experience. Laugh now, cry later. Kendrick is representing the work, the consciousness of evolution. And Kendrick in this situation represents the person who dealt with it. And his album and his music and his artistry speaks towards that. If you have people like this in your life, they're Team Drake, they're showing you what they really value. They may also be revealing that they don't want to do any work to think or grow deeper, because that's what Kendrick's music represents, the ability to have to think a little bit more, be uncomfortable.
Life, yeah, I get that girl, all I got. A new year, right this here on the equinox. Pisces gone, Aries rising off the porch. Etheric schemes, time for dreams to spring forth.
What's going on, world? It's your boy Gemini Brown here, back with another episode of Nalo Kicking Knowledge. Today, I'll be giving my long-awaited perspective on Drake versus Kendrick, this new rap beef, but of course, looking at it from the higher spiritual perspective. So let's get into it. All right, y'all. So I'm excited to talk about this, and there's a lot of different ways in which I can go with it. I'm going to attempt to be very direct. Let's cover the astrology first. So what do I contribute astrologically towards this battle right now? There's so many different directions you can go in with astrology, but what I like to do is track correspondences, and you can do that in a multitude of ways. Just know there's never really a direct correct answer, rather just correspondences that provide perspective, okay? So one thing that I contribute this battle to astrologically is Saturn in Pisces coupled with the North Node in Aries. Aries is about self. The North Node is points of destiny. Kendrick and Drake are embarking in this beef about 12 years into their respective careers. Really more. Drake's been active out here since 08, Kendrick 09, 10, but they've been out here leading the pack for the last 12 years and so, which is significant within itself. This started with the big three thing. So Saturn eliminates those who aren't worthy and those who aren't cut, right? So no offense to Cole, but it got Cole up out of here real quick. So going back to the North Node being the Aries kind of shows that they've been on this course to meet for the number one spot. Aries, right? I'm the best. Okay, they've been on this course of destiny to meet. And then with Saturn and Pisces about to finishing up that particular transit, it'll go back to Aries. This is like a true battle for the championship. Another reason why I contribute this to Saturn in Pisces is because it's in a mutable sign. And one of the dope things in astrology is when you do the knowledge, when you go back and put other corresponding events against this one, you'll see kind of what plays out. So whenever Saturn happens to be in a mutable sign, which really deals with spirit, competition, the using the mind, right? When it's in mutable signs, we've had these great battles. Let's go back to 94, 96, Saturn's last time in Pisces. So 30 years ago, we had Biggie and Tupac, East versus West. Then we had Saturn in Gemini from like 01 to 03. That coincided with Jay-Z versus Nas. Two mutable signs at that. Now, let's follow the knowledge here. Biggie and Tupac, two Geminis. Nas and Jay-Z, a Virgo and a Sag, mutable signs. All right. And then Drake popped off with Meek Mill while Saturn was in Sagittarius. And then he comes back for more, right? It's like, all right, one more and I can prove I'm truly worthy, right? So like I said, I contribute this to being the North Node in Aries, which is about competition, wanting to be the best, as well as Saturn in Pisces, which is wrapping up a cycle, which saw at the beginning these guys aspiring to be the best, and along this journey they became the best. And this is kind of like, all right, how do we really determine who's the best, right? And as I've just said, when we look at Saturn and mutable signs, this kind of always comes to a head within hip-hop. Okay, so that's some of the astrology on it, which I could keep going, but I really want to give you the deeper perspectives on what I see here between these two. The next part where we're going to take this conversation to is about duality. And as above, so below. There are certain fabrics of the universe that are needed to keep it together. One of those being duality. So when you're examining whatever level of reality, there's always going to be some duality there. It's like you can't escape it. So the more you can recognize duality, the more you can see better with this thing. Okay? You don't want to be polarized where it's like, I identify here. Well, I identify here. You want to settle right in between where you can just observe both. Okay? So I think this is a great example. So Kendrick and Drake, in the spiritual sense, represent so much. And I'm going to express it like fast food versus cooked food. Pacifying music versus introspective music. Pure blood versus a mixed blood. Now, this has been going on forever. It's bigger than any of that, though. But these are the layers or the dualistic forces they're reflecting. So please know, they're just playing out battle that's always been playing out. And then lastly, we can look at it like this, particularly like you can look at it as a dog versus a god. I could have said a man, and the dog is like a man too. Just because dog is God backwards. All right. Now, I mean this with no disrespect, because I enjoy both artists and respect what they do. And I think anybody who's conscious enough that is able to enjoy music from a very balanced perspective is like, man, this sounds good. Huh, but what kind of message is this? It's all right to do that. That is life. It's like, yo, this sounds good. There's a part of me that this appeals to, but then there's a conscious part of me that's like, they could have did better in the messaging or whoop-de-whoop. Okay, so this is what we're really looking at within the mentalities of the artists. Drake names his last album For the Dogs, which, listen, as someone who's an artist and creates stuff, your title is revealing. It should have intent. Kendrick put out an album, Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers. Both could be looked at as ambiguous when you just read the title, but then you'll listen to the art and be like, okay, I understand it now. And we're just dealing with facts here. For my man representing the dog, and he made For the Dogs, these were songs about women, and I have to assume like being a dog, like in that sense, right? But in more direct sense, lower vibrational shit. Living life in the drama that transpires from chasing your flesh or your doggy desires. And mind you, anybody who deals with tarot, you know when I say dog, it's that lion, it's the beast nature. That's what we're referring to. The beast nature, which all of us have that. But life is about evolution. It's about doing the work. When you do the work, you become a god. In whatever realm you choose to activate your divinity or godhood. Okay? And then remember, both men are gods in their own right, profession-wise, because they've reached levels where they can amass followers that they influence with that, right? So, like I said, it's not a right or wrong. It just is what it is. It's dualistic. It's what this represents and what that represents. Please drop a comment and let me know if I'm making sense. I know I'm making sense. I just would like the confirmation. So, Drake representing the dogs. Vibrationally, those who are like, I like everything I can see. I like all this worldly shit. And I know that there's repercussions that come with this, but fuck it. I'm just going to keep running it up and playing towards this mentality. That's a choice. That's a level of living. And cutting through the shit, fame allows that to be masked if we're really getting real. So from somebody who sees the evolutionary overview of souls, many of us have lifetimes in which we are able to achieve fame or that royal status, i.e. Leo. But what comes right after Leo, baby? Virgo. And Virgo is saying, hey, that shit you did before, clean it up. You got work to do. So, like I said, Drake is representing an archetype, a real celebrity archetype of our heaven on earth. Nothing matters now, just what I can see, what I can grab, what I can experience. I did laugh now, cry later. If I'm not mistaken, I think that was a song of his. That's a very real saying, and it's a mentality. Like then, but then we go here. Kendrick is representing the work, the consciousness of evolution. The fact that it says that, oh, I can have the world, but damn, once you kind of get the world, you start to feel like you're losing your soul, or there are things that need to be dealt with. And Kendrick in this situation represents the person who dealt with it. And his album and his music and his artistry speaks towards that. So now we get to the nitty gritty, what you need to see here. I want everyone to, if you out there and you liked Drake's songs more than Kendrick, that's fine. What I'm focusing here is that you understood, or on an unconscious level, understood what each was representing and kind of allowed your energy to be swayed wherever it may be. What occurred here is that you have those who are Drake fans, members of his congregation that will go to bat for him. That is showing you, if you have people like this in your life, they're Team Drake, they're showing you what they really value. They may also be revealing that they don't want to do any work to think or grow deeper, because that's what Kendrick's music represents, the ability to have to think a little bit more, be uncomfortable. Drop a comment right now if when you heard that song on Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers with him and the girl having that toxic confrontation, you enjoyed the song, but it also made you cringe because you knew how real it was. As far as an artist, I know that I'm healing something when I'm willing to confront it artistically, because when your artist is to present your emotion artistically is to kind of present yourself naked or raw, right? It's like, everyone look at me. This is what I have to present, and you bare your soul. So it takes a level of connectedness, conscious connectedness, to be able to dig deep, and then another level of courage to be able to put that out. So from my third eye, I saw this. I'm a Drake fan. I'm like, I enjoyed the pacifying songs. They sound good. But man, bro, I'd like to know a little bit more. I'd like for you to dig deeper. I think we've all kind of sensed this. If someone keeps repeating a formula, it's like, well, you were singing about the same things when you were 24. You're a little older now. Who's the new you? Drake's not the only artist that does this. He's just here representing that particular energy. Okay. Now I want to end this by this isn't about a winner or a loser, but Kendrick dropped the song "They Not Like Us." That, man, it puts a lot of things into context. And as someone who considers themselves a hip hop head, historian, I love this shit. I was raised in the Mecca. I know what hip hop means. Allow me to share my perspective. Many of you who've heard "They Not Like Us" knows that, like, oh, this sounds like a West Coast bop. One dope thing about music is that we know we can associate sounds with certain regions. I'm here in the Mecca of the boom bap. Down south has their multiple sounds. Houston itself has, a particular sound. And then the West Coast, everywhere. That's the beautiful thing about hip hop and music in general. The song "They Not Like Us" essentially exposes the fact that Drake could never really be the king of hip hop despite his immense track record, number ones, all of that, because you don't have any real roots in the culture. You don't have a home. You are indeed a visitor. Like I said, I just try to refrain from, well, that's not right, or it kind of just is what it is. Hip hop is a culture. And if someone was not born into being a Muslim or a Jew, but in their adult life they decided that was for them, you can bet your bottom dollar that in their ascension through that religion, they will meet opposition that doesn't welcome them because they don't see them as a pure blood or as really being or that being their home. But you have free will. You can do as you please. And, Drake absorbed hip hop. Anyone can absorb hip hop. But let this be a lesson to you that everything ain't for everybody. And you can do good. You can entertain everyone, but it doesn't mean you'll always be accepted. So within that song as well, I believe Kendrick does a great job of contrasting the topic of the song with the fact, that Drake used Atlanta specifically to craft the sound. And then we know one of Drake's gifts is that he uses multiple sounds. And me looking at it from a psychological perspective, him being a foreigner, I think naturally would those different sounds would appeal to him. But in this thing, I think it gets revealed within the battle and how people are treating it, that Drake can't be the king because he isn't really from this soil, the soil where hip hop was grown and bred. You don't have to agree with this perspective. I'm gonna keep reminding you that. It just is what it is. So I'm gonna park this here. Y'all. I'd love to hear y'all feedback, what y'all think. Are you team Drake, Kendrick, whatever? Let me know. If you need a reading, check out my website, check out my book, Astrology of the Matrix. Till next time, peace.